And welcome back to the Star Wars Library, where Star Wars is in print, and we are almost done with you having to hear me say this story can be found in Volume 5 of A Long Time Ago by Dark Horse. We're almost done with this. We have this issue and then one more, and then we are done. And in fact, too, another cool thing, this is the last post or pre Return of the Jedi story, I should say, that Marvel did. After this, it was all post Return of the Jedi, which is kind of cool. Um, this story came out, of course, in 1983, and it is called Ellie, and it is in issue number 80 of the Marvel Star Wars series, right there. So it's kind of it's kind of an ambitious story for Marvel, and it's kind of a culmination of Marvel 55, where it kind of wraps up this whole thing. Yam Argo and Tay Vanish have been looked for a long time. It's kind of been a recurring thing that we've been talking about. And Argo is dead, but they're still looking for Tay. And so Deniskar is the planet that Luke and Leia and 3PO are on to find a mission to find Tay. And it kind of begins right in action. Luke is hiding from some stormtroopers getting ready to blast them. And so they end up meeting this droid named um, LE914, who they refer to as Ellie. And she's kind of this, it's kind of like an early uh, version of C3PO in a way. It's kind of like if you look at the concept art that Ralph McQuarrie did for the original Star Wars film, like C3PO, it kind of looks similar to that. So I'm wondering if that's where they got some of the information there. But she ends up accompanying them on this in this story, and she actually sacrifices herself for C3PO, but come to find that she actually is blaster proof. She can't be damaged there. So they find in this story they eventually encounter Tay's downed X-wing, and so they find it, and they're still trying to get a hold of him, and they basically they find this information um, that he left. He actually leaves them a holo recording, as you can see right here, that he has found, or that he has this information from Bothan's spies. You might know where this is headed, but we'll get to that in a second. So, anyways, um, they tried to get this to the rebels, but Vader stopped them. And so he knew that as Vader was about to get him, that his time had come. So before Vader could get to him, he gave the data tapes to Ellie, and basically she, after a certain amount of time, if Ellie's not given them the tape, she needs to self-destruct to prevent the Empire from getting a hold of these things. But suddenly she's gone. We don't know where she is, and so they go to this Imperial base, or this Imperial fortress, and this hologram of Darth Vader appears. And so Vader appears right here, or a hologram of him that he left, and it was a message. And he reveals to be, like he's been the puppet master this whole time. And they find that Tay is alive, but he's been tortured, and so he's mentally he's gone. I mean, he pretty much is he pretty much is dead. His body is still there. His heart is still going. He's still breathing, but he's no longer Tay. He's just gone. He's just mentally gone. And so um, we find that he's there, and Ellie comes in, and they're able to convince her to give them these data tapes. And so she opens up her storage. She gives them the tapes, and a very emotional scene here. She leaves them behind, and she cradles her master, the uh, the mentally gone Tay. And we suddenly see in this just a flash of light, and at which point Luke just bangs his fist on this wall, and you realize that she self-destructed while cradling her master. And so Luke and Leia basically end up destroying the base to to give them a proper memorial, and then they leave, and it's very heartbreaking at the end because C-3PO throughout this kind of develops a kinship with the droid, and the way that the art is done here, it looks like he's crying, although he's not. It's just the rain, but the way that the rain is drawn or is on him, it looks like he's crying. But of course, he's a droid; he can't. So of course this sets up the whole Bothan spy thing from Return of the Jedi, where it helps get the information to to the rebellion to find out the plans for the new Death Star. Um, Now, Shadows of the Empire adds a lot more to this, and in fact, it maybe has more of an impact on the whole thing than it does. This doesn't mean that the story's not canon. Just Shadows of the Empire adds more to it and adds probably a larger aspect than this, but this is still an aspect of it. So, is this an essential read? I would say yes. It is a very good story. It's a very emotional story. It's a very touching story. It's one of my favorites from Marvel. It's probably one of Mary Jo Duffy's best. And now, again, with Shadows of the Empire being a part of this, you could say, well, maybe it's irrelevant. It's not. It's kind of seeing Marvel's side of it. They work together to create kind of the whole Bothan spy thing. And I think you'll get more. Shadows of the Empire explains more about this whole thing with the Bothan spies, but I do think that this still adds a good thing to it, and it is a good story, and it doesn't contradict. So I would encourage you, yes, definitely check it out with your Marvel reader, and I would even say if you're a modern expanding universe reader, I would still say check it out because I still think it is that good. So, folks, that is all the time I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time with another episode. May the force be with you.